Alright, welcome everybody to this Week 2 matchup of the very easy league 2020. We have a match between gogobmn and Mayu on tap for you today, and Makarov360 will primarily be doing commentary since, well, I'm at work right now, so I may chime in from time to time, but Makarov will take you most of the way. Take it away, dude.
Hello, I'm Macro360. I am also another runner of this game, and I will actually commentate this one, which is something new for me, and I'm excited for this. So, both Mayu and BMN are good runners, BMN especially with a really good time over 1:03.5. That's a really good
All
time,
right,
an
let's
insane
look at.
time. And I will think that it's going to be quite an interesting race, especially since BMN will use quite a few interesting strats since he prefers them. Starting up, we have the tanker chapter. It's not really that complicated, it's pretty simpler, and it's going to be the closest part of the run by far.
Freeze.
There you saw two distinct strats, with Mayo just running behind the guard and BMN holding the guard up and bumping into him. Neither of them save time and is just a complete preference. Personally, I hold up the guard. And moving on to the first boss fight of the game, which is Olga. This fight is RNG if she goes left or right. On very easy, you want her to go right. So let's see which Olga we get. And Mayo gets a left Olga, and BMN gets a left Olga. And actually, BMN, I think, yeah, both of them got left side Olga, which is not a preferred one on very easy, but that doesn't mean that it's slow. And a big time loss for Mayu is that she didn't get the loop. If she goes left, you have to do a loop. However, on very easy, that loop is not very consistent, and for Mayu, it didn't work. So that's a quite a big time loss, especially for tanker. Nice. So Mayu actually got a small time save there called the Dav drop, which will pretty much unequip the M9 and mash the fire button square to pretty much skip the animation of falling down. It saves a little bit of time, but it's really rare and
Nothing
you
but
don't see
hustlers.
it a lot.
Send backup. Who's that?
Enemy sighted. Requesting backup unit.
Now BMN will move on to one of the hardest rooms in tanker, which is engine room. And I'm surprised that he didn't go for a fast engine room and he goes for the more, let's say, consistent and safe method of going down on the third line, because this pretty much loses 1 second because you have to skip a cutscene. It's not a big time loss, but for tanker rounds or world record attempts, swag strat, as we call it, is quite important, and it just looks better, which is always a point for me.
Repair of the entranceway to the engine.
Now I'm curious if BMN will do a USP deck too. He usually does it, in which he will shoot the first guard with the USP, and that makes the third guard always sleep.
You are ordered to continue manning your posts until that time.
Freeze.
And he did go for it, and he did it correctly. So that will mean that the last guard is sleeping, but for some reason he didn't. So he probably did something wrong, a bad line or just wrong timing. It could be both of them. That's something that you don't really see a lot in a VE run, which is the M9 during Guard Rush. We usually use the USP only. However, the M9 does make shooting one guard, the one behind the box, a lot easier. That guard is pretty much the most important. You want to kill him as soon as you can. And what you saw there is one of the only glitch in the game. There are only a few glitches in the game, and that is one of the biggest ones, which is ladder glitch. You pretty much do a buffer and equip the camera at the same time as you climb onto the ladder. That makes your animation completely mess up, and it just teleports you down. I don't really understand the science behind it, but it's quite an interesting glitch if you do it, and it looks like Mayu is struggling a lot with it, and she got it. Nice. That's a bad continue. You don't want continues in holds. The holds are a pretty difficult part of the game and one where you can lose a lot of time. And BMN just finished Tanker and is moving on to the second chapter of the game, which is Plant. And Mayu did something which is really good in this case. She saw that she struggles with ladder glitch and just decided to climb down the ladder, which is something that you want to do, especially in a race. And it looks like he's struggling a lot with hold one. On BMN's side, nothing really interesting is happening. You just have to wait a bit. There's really nothing to do in the deep sea dock. It's a really boring part of the game, but it's also pretty short. It's like less than 2 minutes, if done optimally, obviously. And the recent discovery by BMN is that you actually have enough time to go back into the deep sea dock itself and pick up the M9. It has no use unless you do M9 Fat Man, and from what I've seen, neither of them will do it. Non-lethal Fat Man is pretty risky, especially in a race. However, those 16 bullets are really useful for that, since if you miss even one M9 shot, you are put at a very big risk. And Mayo managed to successfully get past hold 1 and hold 2, and is doing a traditional free spot photos. And another important thing to mention is that both of them are supposed to do something called menu trick. Menu trick is where you end tanker on the USP and then you unequip the M9 right before the Pliskin cutscene, just like BMN did. That will pretty much put the M9 on your previous, So when you get out of the Stillman cutscene, you will have the M9 on previous, and it saves a menu. And trust me, a menu is a lot in this run. Those small little time saves add up over the entire run, and in the end, it saves a couple of seconds. So that's a really nice thing. And now, what is, in my opinion, the actual start of the run? Bomb disposal. Bomb disposal is where the run gets complicated and gets intense, and is the first major part of the plant chapter. Mario goes for the old caution strat. For a long time, runners thought that it was actually a little bit faster, but it turns out that it isn't. It was just placebo. BMN is doing something weird. I think that BMN is going for conveyor belt. So yeah, conveyor belt. It it is something.
I'm just gonna chime in real quick and say, what a madman. This is not ordinary for very easy. This is somewhat newish. It does save time if you do it pretty close to perfectly. But yeah, a little gutsy by BMN to pull this off.
Yeah, so pretty much what conveyor belt is you do counterclockwise bombs instead of clockwise like we usually do on very easy, and we skip the bomb in strat B, and we pick up two boxes, one in strat F and one in strat E, and we use those two boxes first of all to go to strat B. You defuse the bomb in strat B, you go to strat D, defuse the bomb in strat D, and with the box from strat F, I believe, you go to strat A and directly into fortune. That saves about 2 to 3 seconds if done perfectly, but I guess it's an interesting strat, and it's definitely more interesting than the regular bomb disposal. And I'm curious to see if it will actually work perfectly. And another interesting thing is that since he's doing conveyor belt, he will actually use another glitch, which glitches are pretty rare in this run. There aren't a lot of glitches. And as you see, Mayo is going for a regular, good old clockwise bomb disposal, so you will see two completely different strats used. And you saw BMN pick up box 2 in strat F, and now he will pick up box 3 in strat E. Box 2 will send him to strat B, and box 3 will send him to strat A. And those are the two boxes that will allow him to move faster between the strats. And at first, conveyor belt might look slower, a lot slower, but it actually isn't, because it might not seem like it, but you do not move in as many rooms as regular bomb disposal. You go into less rooms, so that's where the very small 2-second time save comes up if you do it perfectly.
It's the end.
And as you saw there, BMN did a glitch to get up on the conveyor belt, and he just appeared in Strat B. It's just like magic.
It's the enemy. I need help.
Something that you might see BMN do is when a guard is about to shoot him, he puts on the box. For some reason, the box scares the guards and they just don't shoot at you. They are scared of boxes.
Who's there? Enemy sighted. Request.
What's going on? Respond. Communications with Strut D have ceased. Carry out.
Who is that? It's the enemy. I need help.
Understood.
So now using the third box, the box which he picked up from Strat E, he will manage to instantly get to Strat A and go to Fortune. Fortune is the first big boss fight of the planned chapter, and it's completely RNG. It's basically an auto-scroller more than a fight. This bomb in Strat A Deep Sea Dock is notorious for having what I like to call the swim of shame. If you move a little bit too far in front, you will just fall in the water and basically have to swim back to the Strat itself, and I just like to call it a swim of shame. You don't want to fall in the water. So for Fortune, the fight starts with 3 punches and crouching down, and you have to face right for that. The big important thing is that she has to destroy those 3 lamps, those 3 lights. It's very important. And then from that point on is just basically RNG. The whole fight is RNG. Because she needs to hit those barrels. It's completely RNG when and how many hits it will take for her to actually hit the barrel. I do a different setup for that fight. I use the Tino setup. In my opinion, it's a little bit more consistent and I get better times with it, but it's also a little bit more confusing, and it has the potential to lose more time if you do it incorrectly, but I just prefer it because you actually do something other than waiting around. And from what I've seen, BMN had a pretty decent fortune. Not the worst, not the best. That was not good for BMN. So he tried to use the box. The box, you usually don't use the box because you're not supposed to pick any boxes up. However, since he did conveyor belt, he had the box on. And with the box, you can turn at sharper angles. So it might make that turn around to Claymore mines, since those chaff grenades are surrounded by two Claymore mines. It may make those two turns pretty difficult. And now we're moving on to the second boss fight of the planned chapter, and in my opinion, the first actual boss fight, since it's not an auto-scroller, which is Fat Man. Fat Man is an interesting fight, and it's very RNG heavy, unless you do non-lethal Fat Man. However, there are not many runners that actually do non-lethal Fat Man, and I'm curious to see if BMN will go for non-lethal Fat Man. Well, he has the M9 on, which makes me think that he will do a non-lethal Fat Man. Beautiful fight from BMN. So, when it comes to non-lethal Fat Man, there are three possibilities for it. He can either stand and don't do anything. He can either move clockwise or counterclockwise. It's ideal for him to move counterclockwise or to stand. If he goes clockwise, you have to wait and buffer, because there is a chance of him going all the way to the edge, and it's extremely difficult to do the fight if he goes to the edge. And after that, it's just a lot of precise headshots and fast tactical reloading. So I should probably mention what a tactical reload is. It's pretty much when you press R2 twice and you unequip and equip the gun in question at this, in succession, and it makes the gun reload. And that is faster than actually reloading the gun. And the BMN is now moving on to Shell 1 core. And the biggest RNG in the game is coming up, which is aims. Preferably you want to get god aims, however, usually you don't. For the next room in the run, which is the computer room, there is a recent strat which was discovered, which is using the claymore. That saves a little bit of time because it guarantees a fast elevator, because the doors are just open as soon as you reach it. However, BMN doesn't go for it, probably because it doesn't have a claymore, from what I've seen. And he didn't go for the caution strat either, which means that he has to skip at least a cutscene. That doesn't lose a lot of time, but it's just a small time loss. So let's see what RNG we
Rational
get.
pattern recognized. You are cleared to enter.
Your aims aren't you?
God aims. That's God aims. The best possible RNG.
King.
And you saw Mayo doing a more traditional lethal fat man with the with the SOCOM. God God aims RNG is very rare. I think that I've gotten God aims once and that was it. I rarely get good aims at all, I usually get the worst aims. So just that RNG alone, just getting God aims, puts BMN at a massive advantage over Mayu. Or we'll see actually, because who knows, maybe Mayu will also get God aims. BMN just picked up the PSG1 and he's moving on to the hardest fight of the run, which is Harrier. There were a lot of recent strategies and discoveries made about Harrier. It's a fight that you really don't want to mess up. It's a fight where you can lose a lot of time and you just want to get it as consistent as possible and you want to do it fast at the same time. Most runners do 5+1. However, some recent discoveries, like 2+6 and 3+5, are just as fast, if not a little bit faster than 5+1. However, I don't like them and I will always just do 5+1. Mario also doesn't go for a Claymore computer room. And BMN did not blow up the bridge. That is good. Let's see the Harrier. That was high damage. 5 shot. That's a high damage 5+1. That's the ideal Harrier. That was a perfect Harrier from BMN. A high damage 5+1, which ends on the second die shot. And now BMN will get a little small breather from the action. You got a pretty decent aims, not the worst, not the best. Something that you saw BMN do is that he cartwheeled into the ladder and mashed triangle. That makes Raiden skip the animation and it's a little bit faster. He like teleports onto the ladder instantly instead of having to get up on it. And that's an interesting chaff throw from BMN. most runners usually throw it after the third cartwheel on this bridge, but that also works. I just rarely see it. I think that I've seen it only once other than this time. This room was also a room which was considered pretty difficult when coming back into it. However, Plywood, another runner of this game, discovered a consistent setup which I use and works really well, in which is the D-pad with a specific timing, and it always works, and you get a perfect line to cartwheel through the entire room. Now we will see the infamous Nikita pickup. The Nikita has a very big hitbox, and it's definitely not as small as you think. Yeah, that's a pretty big hitbox. You can pick it up way above it, and BMN actually got a really good pickup. You sometimes that hitbox doesn't really work as intended, and you can struggle with picking it up a lot. Maya did not blow up the bridge, and she's moving on to Harrier. I think that she might go for a 2+6 since she started with a two-shot Harrier. It will be interesting to see the two extremes, 5+1 and 2+6. And she didn't go for it.
I took these photos.
I think that's the equivalent of a 4+1 Harrier, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, it isn't. It's slower than a 4+1. I think that's either a 4-shot Harrier or a 3-shot Harrier. And she missed the leap of faith. That's bad. BMN doesn't go for swim glitch, which it's a good idea because BMN knows that he has an advantage, and if he goes for swim glitch and fails it, he will lose a lot of time since swim glitch can win a little bit of time on PC because PC has different load times and just runs better than console, so you don't gain as much time if you do swim glitch as you do on console. So failing swim glitch is a really big time loss on PC. And now Vamp 1. BMN failed the Vamp 1 miserably during one of the races, so I'm curious to see if he will mess it up this time. And he had the perfect Vamp 1 fight, so he didn't mess it up. And Mario just missed a gap. That room is quite a big time loss if you get a continue in. There are a couple of rooms that you really don't want to get continues in. The biggest one being the EF bridge after sniping, but we're not there yet. That continue loses about a minute, like 50 seconds to 60 seconds. It's a big time loss, and you never ever want to get a continue in that room. And now BMN reached the most interesting part of the run, which is MI Escort. Everybody likes MI Escort. It's interesting, it's fast, it doesn't last way too long. It's just a perfect part of the game, and everybody likes it. And I think that both of them actually, both BMN and Mayu, got a fast elevator when going to pick up the Nikita. A fast elevator is RNG, it's completely RNG and saves quite a bit of time. And especially if you get many fast elevators, they add up a lot over the run and they can save quite a bit of time. BMN went for quite a risky position for Emma. Uh, Having her that far is pretty risky. It usually works, but you don't want to risk it at all, especially in a race.
Who's there?
And that was Emma bump. If you bump Emma into the load zone of the door, it makes her spawn a little bit in front of you and it saves like 4 seconds, I think. It saves a few seconds. Emma bump is consistent only on PC. On consoles, it sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes you usually don't want to risk it to Emma bump. However, on PC, unless you're really bad at it, there is no reason to not go for it. And now we have sniping, which is probably the most notorious part of this game. Or actually, I should say of this speedrun. So some important things that you want to do during sniping is that you want to stand in the spot where the night vision goggles are, the thermal goggles are, and you don't want to lean in first person. And another very important thing is that you do not want to zoom in with the sniper. and you don't want to look at Emma. All of those will make her will make her fall if you don't do that. Uh, Interesting. Uh, I BMN stream failed.
Did we lose BMN?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Um, okay.
Interesting.
It's a little unfortunate. We'll try to figure out what's going on here.
Uh, Maybe make Mayo pause the game.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get Mayu to pause and um, try to get BMN to come back. Must have lost his internet or something.
Yeah, thankfully pausing the game also pauses the IGT, so it isn't that big of an issue.
Even if Mayu doesn't get the message, I mean, it's still going to IGT, so it really doesn't matter all too much, just for viewing purposes. I see BMN back on Discord, so maybe he's gonna get it back online. But Mayu just continuing her way with Emma right now, and like we said, it's going to IGT. Okay, so Mayu's paused there. So we're gonna try to get BMN back online. Okay. Crap.
So we are back online, and as you can see, BMN already made it through sniping. However, Mayu is still at MI squad, and is she's going to sniping.
Alright, looks like we got all the technical snags straightened out, and the fact that I'm at work, I was dealing with a customer as well, so that didn't help matters. Um, so we'll let Makarov take you guys home, and hopefully we can have a good race the rest of the way.
Currently, it's quite boring for both runners. Nothing really interesting happening. What did Maya do there? I think she. Well, what is she doing? She hit Emma twice and tried to take a
It's been
continue.
a while, hasn't it? Jack the Ripper. You know this fellow? You remember me, don't you? You've grown. High concentration of cerebral implants. Have they altered your memory, too?
Now, an interesting fact about Jejunum,
Olga, you can't keep
Limes
this
and
up.
the
They're bound to
Platonic
find you.
guy
Listen,
recently
I'll fill
did
you in a
some
little while.
tests on
Brace
Jejunum
yourself.
and found a stupid strat that actually might save time if done perfectly, in which you take an intentional alert, which turns into an evasion and clears up the path for you. It's it's definitely an interesting strat, but I don't think that we will see it even once during this tourney.
Is there somebody there?
So now, since you are at sniping, I guess that I could probably say something about this tournament. So this is the very easy league tournament, which is hosted by MGSR. It will take place for a period of 11 weeks with matches on the MGSR Twitch channel, on the Twitch channel of the runners, or in the MGSR VoIP. You can see on every Thursday a match, actually at least two on the MGSR channel. So definitely look forward to those ones. And you can join the MGSR Discord server if you want to learn any Metal Gear games, and or if you want to see this league in VoIP text or in a VoIP channel. Something that BMN is doing right now is left side Tengu 2, which is quite recently actually, a lot of runners started to do left side Tengu 1. I also started to do it, and it's my opinion it's a lot easier than right side Tengu 1. And one thing that he did there is the only skip in the game, which is Tengu 1 skip. At least, actually, I should say the only skip on very easy, which is Tengu 1 skip. You do a punch punch kick, and while the kick animation is happening, you let go of first person, and you will clip through the door and into the load zone, and you skip the entire fight. And for Tengu 2, he's doing the best week setup, which is a little bit easier and more consistent than the regular setup that most runners do. You just shoot a guard with the pistol and you sit in a specific spot, and it makes aiming and shooting a little bit easier.
It came as a complete surprise when Ocelot discovered the S3 data from GW. Not a bad idea, though. Using fire to fight fire, creating the perfect assassin to retire Solid Snake's
So
brother.
I'm curious to see what Ray
S3
fight
stands
BMN
for
will do.
Solid
If he will do the
Snake
regular
Simulation.
middle left right, or
It's a
if he will
development
do the
program to
slightly
artificially
faster middle right
reproduce
left.
Solid Snake, the perfect warrior. The result is a Foxhound Commando.
This fight
When a
on very
Foxhound
easy
no
is
longer
in general
exists,
very
a
fast,
simulated Solid
since
Snake shaped by
one
the
shot
Omnisman
to the mouth
sound like someone you
kills the
know,
Ray instantly,
Jack.
so it's a short fight
I'm sorry
anyways.
to see you
However, that
reduced to one of the
middle right
Patriots'
left fight
puppets.
saves a
But
tiny
I've
bit
made
of
use
time,
of you, and
about a
their
second I
plan
think,
too.
compared to the regular
Solid
middle
Snake's sudden
left
appearance,
right
your
strat.
arrival. It was obvious the Patriots were among my ranks. I had to smoke out the agent before the mission entered
And
the
he
final
goes for the
phase.
regular
You came in
middle
handy
left right.
as bait. Jack, those days during the Civil War were as real as they come. Every day was absolute.
Mai, on the other hand,
Split
is
between life
slowly
and death.
approaching Vamp 2.
You ran from it.
Vamp 2,
And
which
now you've been led
is,
back to war
or
by
at least has the
something less
potential of
than
being the
me.
fastest fight in the whole run, especially if you have a fast trigger finger.
Are you awake yet, Jack? GW. The Arsenal
Decent
AI is
fight,
corrupted
not the
beyond
best, not the
repair.
worst.
I admit that I underestimated you. I'll squeeze the answers out of you instead, my son.
What do you hope to hear? You know he doesn't know anything.
It's not him I want the answers from.
BMN is now starting the final fight of the game, which is the fight with the President of the United States on top of the Federal Hall. It's, in my opinion, the best fight in the game and my favorite part. Fight, whatever you want to call it. It's just interesting and different. It's a sword fight. Who doesn't like a sword fight? BMN got RNG. He has gotten good RNG. He got the people's elbow, which is ideal on the Solidus fight, and that's actually a GG. And for BMN, it was a good run in my opinion. It was an interesting run. He didn't have too many mistakes, and especially he really mixed it up by doing conveyor belt, which I absolutely didn't expect.
Do you remember this place?
Of course. This is where we first met. I remember now. Today is the day I met you.
That's it.
I think I found something to pass along to the future.
What?
He said all living things want their genes to live on.
Are you talking about the baby?
Yeah. The genes aren't the only thing you pass on. There are too many things that aren't written into our DNA. It's up to us to teach that to our children.
What kind of things?
About the environment, our ideas, our culture, poetry.
Mayu plays Jejunum safe and goes around the guard, which loses only 4 seconds, and it's a good alternative in a race if you don't trust yourself with Jejunum. Jejunum is a really difficult room, and one of the most difficult in the run.
I stare at the stars and the sky up above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled?
There's not really a lot to talk about during this section of the game. Credits and the sword tutorial.
Streets below and ask every child.
I could say that you must swipe as soon as possible because that whole room is on a timer. It starts from the moment you first swipe the blade, and it counts down from 45 seconds. So you want to swipe as soon as possible to get the most time saved.
Can't say goodbye to yesterday, my friend. I keep holding on till the end. Out of the darkness, there is no other way than the light leading to yesterday.
Mayo struggles a lot with Tango 1 skip,
It's there that I'll find
and she managed to get it.
peace, not war, and dreams that I let slip away. I'll find the joyfulness I'm looking for.
Mayo also goes for the best week setup, however, she's aiming way too high. You're not supposed to aim that high when it comes to the best week setup, and I think that her position is a bit wrong. I don't know, she misses a lot of shots. She should stand a little bit more in front of that panel that she's sitting on. I also think that her aim is a bit too high. It should be lower, like about halfway between the actual platform and the tangles themselves. Decent fight.
Why can't each of us in the world ever see the best
During the solid speech you can do whatever you want and you won't lose time, because the whole section is based on an audio file, which is the audio of solid speaking. So that means that there is actually no way to skip it, or no known way of skipping it, because whatever you do, even if you go outside the map all the way to the border, you still cannot do anything because the audio hasn't stopped.
do not pass me by? Happy ever after, please stay for a while. Make time refuse to fly. I can't say goodbye to yesterday, my friend, 'cause I know how good it has been. Facing forever, here I stand, come what may. Bring the old, bring the new, yesterday.
Doing that menu thing at the beginning of the Ray fight gives you a little bit more time to aim the stinger, so that's why some runners prefer to open their menus and actually select the stinger instead of just selecting it from previous.
I'll find the joyfulness I'm looking for way back in yesterday.
BMN is approaching the credits, and we will see what time he gets. Maya got good RNG, a short dash and the people's elbow. And a 1:02:31 for BMN. That's a good time. And that's a GG for Mayu.
A 102.31?
Yes.
Wow. Holy crap. That,
BMN. BMN wrote in his chat, passable run. Passable run.
wow. That puts him in third. That puts him ahead of the great Platonic guy on the leaderboards. Like, holy crap. That's incredible. Jeez. Well, hats off to BMN for sure. Definitely played his heart out. A couple minor things here and there, but really didn't make any mistakes. Did he go for swim glitch by chance?
No, he didn't.
I think that's the best time we've ever seen without swim glitch. So that's incredible. Wow. But yeah, we'll wait for Mayu to finish her credits, and yeah, that's shocking. That is right now as it sits, that is the best run of the league so far. So that beats my 102.47 by 16 seconds. So incredible stuff.
I
But
definitely did not expect a 102.
well, hope you guys enjoy that. But we'll get these credits going, or get these credits through. See Mayu's time, and then we'll conclude this broadcast. But appreciate anybody and everybody for watching. And if you like these matches, we stream every Thursday on the Metal Gear Speedrunners Twitch channel. That is twitch.tv/Metal Gear Speedrunners. At least 2 to 3 matchups every week for the next few months through January, I believe January 13th. Um, we'll have a few matches for you there. Rest of the matches from the league can be found either in our Discord or on each of the runners' respective Twitch channels, like today. So if you like very easy and you like competitive matches, be sure to tune in to Metal Gear Speedrunners. And yeah, but we'll leave you to watch these beautiful credits. Take a gander at BMN's rank screen, and we'll be back to you in a few minutes.
A 109.41 for Mayu. That's GG for Mayu.
So yeah, all in all, not too bad of a run by Mayu for sure, but what a run by BMN. That's it's gonna be a hard time to beat throughout this league anyway. So, but that'll conclude this broadcast. I do appreciate Makarov for doing commentary. Hope you all enjoyed it, and we will see you guys for the next one.